Have you been to a wedding lately? Are you planning a wedding in your life or in the life of one of your loved ones in your family? I have to say I've been to scores of weddings. In fact, I've officiated at perhaps hundreds of weddings throughout the years. And today we'd like to hear about Jesus going to a wedding. It was the wedding at a little place called Cana. And we're going to be reading this from the account given to us in St. John chapter 2, verses 1 to 11. Here's what we read there. On the third day, a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no more wine." "Woman, why do you involve me?" Jesus replied. "My hour has not yet come." His mother said to his servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so. And the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now." What Jesus did here in Cana of Galilee was the first of the signs through which he revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. That's the unique story of the wedding of Cana. I'm Pastor Richard Krause, coming to you from Christ Lutheran Church, Pewaukee, Wisconsin. This is a story that is oftentimes referred to. It's a beautiful story. Jesus was celebrating not only with family, but all the disciples were invited to this wedding. It's in a place called Cana, and it's felt that this is up close to Nazareth, west of the Sea of Galilee. We don't really know. It's just a tiny place, but it's made famous because Jesus had gone to the wedding, and Jesus performed this first miracle there. Just the other day, I read an article that raised the question, why did Jesus make all that wine? And they brought up different ideas in conjunction with that. Perhaps this was 300 to 500 bottles of wine when it was all said and done. We don't know exactly, but it was a lot of wine. The couple just starting out could have taken that wine and sold it and gotten a good footing as when they're starting out their married lives together. Well, we don't know exactly how much wine there was. It talks about people drinking and having a lot to drink, and then they bring out the best wine. Well, Jesus does not endorse drunkenness or anything like that, and the text doesn't say that either. But, you know, the important thing is not these things, but that this was a sign. When we're driving along the road and we see a stop sign, I think we know what that means. Stop. If we don't stop, we may well have an accident. We might be killed, or we might hurt or maim or kill somebody else. And if we don't stop and there's no accident, maybe there's a police officer that's just down the road and he sees that we didn't make a full stop. Maybe we had a rolling stop, and he pulls us over and he gives us a ticket because we're a danger. We're a danger on the road. This was a sign. It tells us something. Jesus did this miraculous thing so that people would see his glory, including his disciples. You know, when Jesus, in the midst of the story, the mother's concerned, they did run out of wine. Now, back then, and even today, customs at weddings change. I see this in the last 40, 50 years, what they did at some weddings years ago that was very prevalent. They don't do anymore. Now, you know, they have photo booths and thousands and thousands of dollars maybe spent. People get on a bus with the wedding party, and they're taken around, and there's photographers, and there's video people, and they didn't have all those kind of things necessarily years ago. And Jesus' mother is concerned. They're going to run out of wine, and Jesus, do something. And Jesus makes clear to his mother, my time has not yet come. But he does this miraculous thing so that people will see that he's the Son of God, that he has powers that only God has. He creates this wine, not to draw attention to the wine, but to draw attention to the power that God had given to him. This is the season of Epiphany, and one of the ways that we see Jesus revealed to the world is through his miracles, these great acts of God that defy all nature, defy the way that things normally happen in the world. Why? Why these miracles? To give glory to Jesus Christ, the Son of God and your Savior.